Black Ops 2 is a mixed bag. It's one of the most popular multiplayers we've ever received in a Call of Duty mainline release. It's got two of the best maps we've ever received in Zombies history. It features a campaign that's extremely memorable, and folks still talk about it to this day as one of the best future storylines that's been attempted in a Call of Duty game. I mean, Black Ops 2 is so popular, in fact, that it was just re-released this past month, nearly a decade and a half after its original release for modern-day consoles, both PS4 and PS5, and it's already been made backwards compatible on modern Xbox consoles. It's easily one of the most popular games of all time, one of the most famous COD games of all time, and according to the charts from just a couple of weeks of players getting back online in Black Ops 2, it's big enough today to still be the biggest game in the world on PlayStation consoles, only trailing behind Fortnite. Millions of players flocked back to it the second they could. And whether that's a rebuke of modern day Call of Duty games as a whole, or if it's just a testament to how popular of a game it was, is still up for debate. Now, of course, all of this means that millions of players flocked back to the most controversial bits of the game too. Hackers, modders, boosted lobbies, exploits, and of course the non-player influenced aspects that also had controversy, the actual content of Black Ops 2. Many players are either returning to the game for the first time in over a decade, or are having their first ever experience playing this game, and they're either learning or relearning just how much of a mixed bag Black Ops 2 was, and especially when it came to its Zombies mode. Now, Black Ops 2 Zombies, as I've previously mentioned, and I've talked about in other videos multiple times over, is a huge mixed bag in terms of quality and content delivery. It's filled with massive ups and downs. Huge quality cliffs that deliver both the absolute best of the best in some of the most popular maps of all time, and some extremely deep dips and valleys, delivering arguably some of the lowest of the lows. It launched with an absolutely critically panned set of maps: Transit and its related survival maps, Bus Depot, Farm, and Town. While its individual survival maps get a little bit less hate than the overall map they're based on, Transit, they're still a spawn of the main map. So far, we've received 4 playable experiences, a couple of modes, and one mainline new map entry that's just not that great as part of the Black Ops 2 launch. And I've talked about Transit a bunch already, so I won't do it again in this video, but take a look back at some of my other videos on Black Ops 2, and you'll get my full take on the map, and why it was such a universally panned release, and why it fell so short. And the reason I bring this up is in order to talk about the actual main topic of this video, the most controversial Zombies map in Black Ops 2, one often ranked as the community's least favorite in the entire game, and fairly low across the entire Black Ops series, I do have to at least briefly touch on what series of events led up to its release, and the context of the game itself. Now, I'll rip the band-aid off here and not leave you in the dark as to where this video is going. We're going to be talking about Die Rise, the map that you're watching on your screen right now. Die Rise is Black Ops 2's DLC 1, the first new map released, and the second map featuring our brand new Victus crew, and the highly anticipated follow-up to an otherwise very weak launch map with Transit. The community, rightfully so, had high expectations and demands that the first DLC map would be significantly better than what they got stuck with for multiple months post-launch. Now, typically speaking, the launch map is the one that's going to get the most playtime. It'll be the one everyone gets for free back when COD releases still had paid DLC seasons, and new maps were bought alongside $15 map packs every few months. This is well before any content was released for free in Call of Duty. You had to pay for it, so you wanted to get your money's worth for it. The initial launch period part of the DLC season would last the longest, going from the normal November game release through until about January or February, so the community has to sit with the free title launch map they're given for about 2 to 3 full months. Black Ops 2 came out in November of 2012, Die Rise was released at the end of January 2013, January 29th to be exact, meaning the community had a near full 3 months of sitting on Transit, a massively underwhelming and unpopular map both at the time and through to this day. I was one member of said community sitting and waiting for the next release eagerly. I was the person having to replay Transit every day because it's all I had, the person having to experiment with the new survival maps and the newly introduced modes just to pass the time. I'm not now, nor have I ever been, a big multiplayer person, and I'm not a big campaign person either. I typically buy Call of Duty releases for the Zombies mode, so of course when a brand new map's coming out, I just can't wait. And that was the sentiment of the broader community. We were all eagerly awaiting the first post-launch map and what DLC 1 had in store for us. And of course, all waiting and hoping, fingers crossed, that this map would be better than Transit. Now, this next section is going to be a bit of a recap from other videos that I've already done on Transit. So if you've heard my take on Transit, skip ahead about 30 seconds. All right, recap time. Transit was hugely experimental. It was an attempt at an open-world Zombies concept. It featured new modes of transport, or Transit, all wordplay intended. It featured new mechanics, new enemies, buildables, a weird new power system, fog and lava, a full-fledged Easter egg like we saw in Black Ops 1's final release, Moon, but all of these experimental and quirky new features weren't exactly done very well. The community didn't take to these new features and this new fresh perspective on Zombies. I think a lot of what people were hoping for with DLC 1 before knowing what Die Rise was going to be was a return to form, because Transit broke that form. Something still interesting, a unique setting, some new weapons, and a cool new wonder weapon, but a return to simplicity. Instead, what Die Rise turned out to be was yet another weird and experimental, strange map. This time, almost the exact opposite of Transit. Transit was far spread, wide wide-reaching and a huge map, albeit a big map that felt simultaneously very small and isolated due to the constraints of the consoles it released on, and the inability to truly deliver on an open world and sprawling vision that Jimmy Zielinski and the Treyarch team had. Die Rise, on the other hand, was tight. It was tall, it featured a lot of small, compact corridors and drops and weaves and turns, and it relied entirely on verticality. Die Rise, much like Tranzit, also featured new methods of transportation. This time you had to rely on broken elevators, falling off buildings, leaping between the rubble and wreckage, balancing on tight beams lest you fall to your death, navigating tiny hallways and closet-sized spaces, going up and down flights of stairs, and more. It completely reshaped the normal playstyle of Zombies, much like Tranzit, but in yet another unpopular and poorly received way. Now, for those of you more unfamiliar with early Zombies, World at War and Black Ops 1 featured mostly wide-open, navigable buildings and courtyards and hallways and things of that nature. Maps like Noctur and Toten, even small, still featured enough play space to be able to train around. Maps like Verrucht, while a huge expansion on a small map, still had wide enough hallways and open areas that the player didn't feel claustrophobic all the time. Shino Numa and Der Riese, along with Black Ops 1's Kino der Toten, 5, Ascension, really every map from that game, also featured big wide open areas. Maps that had interesting and unique settings and didn't try to confine the player or overly confuse the player, just well-designed zombie survival experiences. Now, Black Ops 2, being a hugely anticipated follow-up to these games, threw those norms out the window. Transit is a wide open and sprawling map, but with unforgiving new mechanics that punish the player just for trying to experiment with the experimental. Each survival map has its own annoying quirks. Bus Depot has no power or upgrading, Farm is tiny and very difficult, and Town, while the most feature-filled, is also bogged down by its inclusion of Transit's worst feature, the lava. Die Rise, being the immediate follow-up to these, just was not a great taste for the community. Now, I'm repeating myself a lot here, but I need to get the point across. Black Ops 2 was not off to a great start. It wasn't sunshine and rainbows. It wasn't an amazing follow-up to what the community was already very familiar and comfortable with. It was quirky, it was experimental, it was weird, it was unique, and in a moment where the community were willing to throw more money at Activision and Treyarch and trust them with a second map, a second chance at starting the game off right, what was delivered was every bit more quirky and experimental, and a complete departure from the typical formula than the last. Hence why I truly believe Die Rise to be the most controversial Zombies map in Black Ops 2. And while that crown is often placed on Transit for the rocky start that it gave Black Ops 2, Transit bears no comparison to the utter hate that Die Rise receives from the community, even through to this day. I still see videos of people on Twitter falling off the side of a building in the middle of a high round run, mostly because their character didn't jump, or because they missed a landing spot by a mere pixel-perfect margin, or the map's new buildable, the Trample Steam, didn't activate even though it was fully reloaded and ready to go. So the player unexpectedly fell to their death at seemingly no fault of their own. So now a game that's never been typically known for its elegant and easily manageable movement has become a weird hybrid of zombie survival and platformer, things that the common player doesn't come to expect when they load up Call of Duty Zombies. And equally so, Die Rise also features a wonder weapon that's actively trying to kill you. It's immensely powerful, but it's also immensely dangerous. It's a gun that shoots slippery goo on the ground that'll rapidly accelerate your player towards the edge of a building, and if you're not careful enough, you'll slip off the map and die. Or you can avoid these puddles spawned by the weapon and it'll be a one-hit kill to anything in its path, a true mixed bag. And for as much hate as this map gets, and for as critical of the map as I'm being, I actually think it's really clever game design to weaponize the map against the player. You're trading off the disadvantages, which is making your player more susceptible to falling off the map and dying, in exchange for an extremely powerful weapon. But of course, that's part of the controversy. Controversy isn't born entirely out of negatives. It exists because the map is inherently controversial. Some people will find nothing but flaws in it. Some will absolutely love it, and some will see it as a mixed bag, someone like myself. It features very interesting game design, but not familiar to the Zombies mode, making it broadly unpopular. It features a really cool wonder weapon, but one that casual players can easily get themselves killed with, and one that'll make them overly critical of the verticality of the map because it's the thing that keeps killing them every single run. And something else that I want to acknowledge is that this map is the first time that Treyarch truly unbound a Zombies map, something we're very used to these days with games like Black Ops Cold War, Black Ops 6, and Black Ops 7. Games that remove the traditional invisible barriers and allow us to freely explore the maps, jumping on top of objects, running through scenery without being stopped. World at War and Black Ops 1, on the other hand, and most Call of Duty games of this era, were very guided. Maps featured invisible barriers everywhere. You were told where you can go, and the map's confines were defined for you. There was no experimenting with it, no breaking the barriers and falling off the edge. You had guardrails in place. Die Rise removed that layer of trust that players came to expect by allowing you to fall to your death, to die to something not a cause of a skill issue, not a cause of succumbing to the zombies you're actively trying to survive from, but rather dying because of the map itself and the design around you. And a lot of the problems with Die Rise and a lot of the hate that it gets comes down to player perception. Players don't want to die to what they interpret as poor map design. They don't want to die to anything but a zombie swiping at them. And to be fair, they don't want to die to that either. So pitting them into tight corridors and elevators and staircases makes the player feel as though their death is less of a result of their inability to kill and avoid and dodge, and more or their ability to puzzle and navigate and platform. So essentially, to sum it all up, Die Rise is a platformer map built into a typically flat, wide survival shooting game. It's extremely unpopular, it's unforgiving, it's difficult, and it's different, which unfortunately is its biggest flaw. It doesn't follow the traditional COD Zombies norm. It doesn't follow the normal formula. You weren't loading up Die Rise to play COD Zombies and kill zombies anymore. You were fighting against the map itself, your own ability to manage the game's mechanics, your own skill at navigating the game's poor movement system. The design of Die Rise has never been done again in any other setting through any other COD Zombies game, Treyarch or not. And for that, I truly think it's the most controversial entry as a zombies map that we've ever received, and easily the most controversial and arguably most unpopular alongside Tranzit of all of the maps featured in Black Ops 2 Zombies. Now with that said, I love Die Rise. I appreciate that it's weird and that it's different. I like that it's difficult. I like that it's unforgiving. I like that it's unpopular. There's something about enjoying a map the rest of the community doesn't like that almost makes it feel like it's my own. I can enjoy it. I can relate to the handful of other people that also do. But I also totally understand why it's so unpopular, when it felt like such a jarring release and an unappreciated follow-up to an already historically unpopular launch map. It wasn't released in the best of circumstances, and it had an uphill battle to climb that it just couldn't get up. But I'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you enjoy Die Rise? Is it one of your favorites, or does it rank at the bottom for you? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, if you like this style of commentary and the videos that I make, drop me a like and a comment and let me know if you want me to do more of these. That's all I've got for now, and I'll see you in the next one.